Good evening, everyone. Welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I am, well, a host on this show, on this program. We are brought to you by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. Before we go into our 2022 NFL preview tonight, I just want to remind you of a couple things. First off, I want to remind you about social medias right down here below on Twitter, Instagram, and yes, TikTok. NoCreds REQ, Facebook.com/NoCreds REQ. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you know when either new videos come up or we're live. On the podcast side, if you're listening on the podcast side, because this will be available in podcast form after the live show tonight, subscribe. Our primary platform is on Spreaker, but we're also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, wherever you podcast, whichever platform you podcast from, we are there. And also, if you're able to rate and review, leave a rating. 5 stars is obviously preferred. It would be very optimally preferred if you leave a 5-star rating. If you're able to, whether you're on Podchaser or you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a review. I might even read it on the air. Now, I teased on social media that there was going to be a big announcement tonight. Well, the big announcement is I have a new co-host. When I started this podcast in August 2020, when I helped reboot it, my buddy Corey and I were the ones who kind of did who did this podcast for a while. He left the show in January of 2021. I've been solo ever since, but now I'm going to bring in a brand new co-host. He is one of my very good friends. We actually just came back from vacation, North Carolina. That's how good friends we are. This is my buddy Dustin Henry. Ooh, Dustin, how we doing? Everybody. There we go. Dustin Henry. He's one of my very good friends. He is now the co-host of No Credentials Required. Dustin, how are we feeling after coming back from vacation?
Oh man, I miss vacation so much already. I miss the pool. I miss the trips to the beach. That gives a little teaser to where we were.
Yep.
But yeah, to come back to this rain and most importantly, go back to my day job. It was a little rough getting back in the saddle, but this was something to look forward to tonight. I'm excited to jump in. I haven't podcasted. I haven't been behind the mic in that capacity since 2015. So I'm excited and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, what was the podcast you were on before? Telling the audience.
It was a podcast about video games. It was called Geek Appreciation. I co-hosted it with my longtime college friend Chris. We were both enthusiastic gamers. We decided to start it for fun, and we had a good run. We made it about a little over a year, but as you know, scheduling can be tough sometimes and life happens. And we just weren't able to keep it going weekly. And that was the format that we wanted to do. So we decided if we couldn't keep it weekly, we should probably just unplug it. But it was fun, and we had a few listeners, and it's something that I missed and thought about getting back into. So when you asked me to join, I was excited, although I do not have the sports knowledge you do. I know my way around a little bit, but our trivia nights, I mean, you're tough. You're tough to go up against.
No, but I mean, yeah, we're both sports fans. I know you're a big pop culture guy too. You love music. You also make your own music too.
Yeah.
You made the song for your sister's wedding.
Yes.
Which was excellently done, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you. It was a cover of a song that they chose, and then I recorded a version of it. It's also been a little while since I was involved in music to the capacity that I used to be, but that's something that I may be getting back into here and there. I've done a few guest spots on some albums. One of them by my friend's band, the Gherkins Band. Check them out on
The
Instagram.
Gherkins.
Their albums. You might hear some saxophone from me, some background vocals, but
Ooh.
give it a stream. They're on Apple Music. They're on Spotify. I think most platforms.
Yeah, yeah, no. So definitely we'll check that out. Maybe we can make some new intro music together. I'm not very musically inclined, but hey, maybe we can get some new intro and outro music or whatever. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah, we
talk
could
more.
probably throw something together. Yeah.
We'll talk more about it. But yeah,
All right.
no. Tonight is we're 2 days, Dustin. We are 2 sleeps away from the 2022 NFL season. I'm excited. I don't know if you're excited. You are excited because I do see you wearing your Seattle Seahawks jersey.
Oh yeah.
So we had our fantasy football draft last night for our guys' night out league, which has been going on for I think it's the 14th year of this
Wow.
particular league's existence. I know
Yeah.
I know you haven't been in it in every single year, but this is
No.
the 14th year of existence for this particular league, which I started with a bunch of friends a long time ago. So, but no, we had our fantasy draft last night. Well, it's funny. I was actually live streaming for Belly Up Hockey while I was
While
drafting. So I
drafting.
was well drafting, but it went through quickly. So I'm kind of glad we got that out of the way so I can talk more hockey. But no, football season's right around the corner as my cat Tagalong joins us
Yes.
as well. The show
He
mascot.
is he is tagging along, as we'd like to say.
Yes, as he does. He lives up to his name. So what we're gonna do, and I've done this in previous shows before. Jeez. What I'm gonna do is that I have a timer,
Hmm.
and what I do is I do 5 minutes. We spend 5 minutes in each division because there's 8 divisions in the NFL. We spend 5 good minutes talking about each division, which teams we think are going to come out of those divisions, which teams are going to be surprising, which teams are going to be the bottom feeders, and we riff for about 5 minutes. And once we hear the one up sound from Mario Brothers, we move on to the next division. We keep doing that until we finish. We get from we're going to start in the AFC East. We're going to finish in the NFC West, and then we give our division winners, our wild cards, and we're going to tell you who we think will be in Phoenix, Arizona, at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona, on February 8th. So, Dustin. Oh, also, I have a mustache now. For
Yeah.
now,
It's growing. It's growing back.
the beard's growing back. My sister absolutely positively hates this mustache.
That was a vacation. That was a vacation deal,
Yeah, so the vacation surprise for Dustin's brother-in-law, whose birthday we celebrated early because the day we came back was his actual birthday, and
Yeah.
He had to
He
drive for
got to
12
drive in
hours.
the car for a lot of
Yeah, that was
hours.
his birthday present. He got to drive in a car for 12 hours.
We got him. We got him Rofo fried chicken on the way home, so
There
he
you
did all right.
go. There you go. No complaints about that. All right. So we're going to start in the AFC East. My timer is going to start right now. Dustin, 4 teams in the AFC East. We get the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, New York Jets. Let's talk about this division.
Okay.
I think for me, it's Buffalo is the class of this division, if not the AFC.
Yeah, they are. I really, Josh Allen, to my eye, he has improved every year, and I think they've done a good job with bringing Diggs in a couple of years ago and trying to bring in talent around him. The coaching staff clearly knows what they're doing. I mean, to the point where they've been poached for other head coaching jobs. That's always a sign that a team and a staff has it together when their coaching staff is in demand as interviews for other teams. So I think it's Buffalo. I do hate to admit this, but I think Belichick is going to find a way to make the Patriots at least competitive. Teasing down the line, they may be one of my wild card picks out of the AFC. I do not take any pleasure in saying that, but I think it could go that way, although the AFC's got a lot of talent. And then unfortunately, your beloved Jets. I just don't think. I think they're building something there, but I just don't think they're a couple of years away still. I think, and I don't know what to make of the Dolphins. I know they have the new head coach there, and I know they went and got Tyreek Hill, but I don't know if Tua is going to be the quarterback. I know Tyreek thinks that he's walked into a quarterback upgrade, but I don't know how many people feel that way.
Yeah, that's questionable in my eyes. No, Buffalo's number one. They're going to win the division, I think, and heck, they may even get home field advantage for the playoffs. And if they do to get home field advantage, anything less than a Super Bowl appearance would be severely disappointing.
Yes.
My thing is that it's tough to tell. Like any of the three teams remaining between the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Patriots could finish 2, 3, 4. I have Miami finishing at 2, although I don't think they make the playoffs. I think they have a great defense.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, they have excellent defense. Bringing in Tyreek Hill was huge, but it's all going to rely on Tua. And the Jets are the Jets are in a similar situation because of Zach Wilson's status. You bring in all these, and what Joe Douglas has done that other GMs have not done in the past with other quarterbacks is that he is surrounding Zach Wilson with talent on the offensive side of the ball.
Yes,
but it's all going to be up to. And by the way, I'm wearing my shirt from InTheClutch.com today.
Oh, there we go.
Word to your moms, I came to drop bombs t-shirt and Zach Wilson's face with the MILF Man I Love Football headband. But 2, 3, 4 could be a toss-up between any of these teams. I've got Miami in second, but I had them missing the playoffs. I don't think Tua. I don't think Tua is their quarterback.
Yeah.
New England, I have them finishing third. They missed the playoffs just because of what's happening with the offensive signal callers. Who's going to be the offensive signal caller? Right now it's Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
And you lose Josh McDaniels to Las Vegas, where he's poised to bring the Raiders to the promised land. And remember, they host the Super Bowl next. I think they host the Super Bowl next year. So they want to host the Super Bowl with the Raiders in the lineup. But yeah, I think Belichick's time is. I think he's going to be out as coach within the next 3 seasons. That's my prediction. I could be wrong, but I don't think the Patriots are anything to. I mean, obviously they're going to keep things close, but I don't think they make the playoffs this year. And my beloved New York Jets, I have them taking a step up from 4 wins. I think they win. Their floor right now, I believe their floor is 6. Their ceiling is 10. Just based off the schedule they have, especially the latter part of the schedule. I actually have a column right now on BellyUpSports.com. Shameless plug. 5 bold predictions for the New York Jets for next season. But yeah, I've got Buffalo 1, Miami 2, New England 3, Jets 4. Unfortunately.
Okay. And I do think, like I said, they're building something there. I know the Mekhi Becton injury was huge, but if memory serves, they did go out and get, I believe, former Seahawk Dwayne Brown.
They signed Dwayne Brown 2 years, $22 million.
Yeah, he is.
And there's the one up.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, they're going to have. Let me just go over a little bit.
Yeah.
Brown and Laken Tomlinson are the left side of your offensive line. George Fant, Elijah Vera Tucker, all rookie. On your right side, Connor McGovern. They've got to have at least 1 clean sheet this year in terms of not allowing sacks per games. All right, moving right along to the AFC North. Does anybody beat Cincinnati in this division?
Well, I know there's a lot of talk out there that everybody's saying that Cincinnati is, I think a lot of people are skeptical that Cincinnati is going to be able to repeat their run in the division, but I don't buy that. I think Cleveland is in turmoil, right? I mean, Jacoby Brissett, he's obviously a good enough quarterback to make this league. I think he's decent enough to start for a few games, but they're going to have him for 11 games? I mean, that to me torpedoes their season. Mitch Trubisky, I don't understand the hype behind Mitch Trubisky. People seem to be excited. I know Pittsburgh's got they've got one of those proud defenses in the NFL. They've got some explosive receivers and things, but there were the issues with Chase Claypool last year. Kind of, it seemed like he fell out of favor. They benched him a few times because it seemed like his conduct on his drive on the field wasn't where they wanted it to be.
Yeah, he was trying to trend on TikTok rather than win football games.
Yeah. So I know people are probably saying, well, Mitch is young. Ben was at the end of his rope last year, but I don't see the hype in Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I mean, their injury history the last few years they've been snake bit as a franchise. And I don't think they put enough offensive weapons because I know defense wins champions. That's the old adage, but I think the league is an offensive league now. And I don't think Lamar Jackson is enough by himself. So I do have the Bengals coming out of the AFC North.
All right, so I've got the Bengals coming out of the North too. I think they did a lot of improvement, especially on offensive line, considering what happened in the Super Bowl, especially down the stretch in that fourth quarter when that offensive line was just beat up by the end by the Rams defensive line. And that was something they had to absolutely positively address in the offseason, and they did. So they have their defense is good enough. Jeremy Bates is re-signed for a couple more years. He had the franchise tag on, but now he signed an extension, so he's there to shore up the secondary for the next couple of seasons. Defense is good enough. The loss of CJ Uzomah is going to hurt, but it's the Bengals are building something too. I think they're doing something special in Cincinnati, especially with Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor. A lot of people thought Zach Taylor was on the hot seat last year because of what was going on with Joe Burrow. Well, Joe Burrow came back healthy last year after that torn ACL, and he absolutely, with him and Jamar Chase having that past chemistry at LSU, come over to Cincinnati.
Yeah,
and that made them a dangerous team.
Yeah, and remember the thing where they were saying that Jamar Chase, he was having trouble tracking the ball in preseason, and everybody was scared. Well, we saw how that turned out.
Swerve. Yeah, that's a swerve right there. Baltimore had a lot of injuries last year, which translated into them missing the playoffs. But they come back fully healthy. They have some good prospects that they drafted this past offseason. They had a great draft. They got rid of Marquise Brown, and they acquired I forgot who they acquired in the draft as a result, but they got Tyler Lindenbaum, who's going to be at center, who's going to be their future center. They rebuilt the line. The problem is Greg Roman's defense. You know what they're all about, and they're all about Lamar Jackson. So they got to find a way to have Lamar Jackson be a more of a pocket quarterback than just an RPO. But I have them improving. Pittsburgh, I think, bold prediction from them. I think this is the first time we're going to see a losing season in Pittsburgh.
Wow!
Since I think the Coward era.
Yeah,
I think Mike Tomlin. I think Mitch Trubisky is a bridge quarterback right now. I think Kenny Pickett will start some games this year. That's why they drafted him. Cleveland is a dumpster fire wrapped up in a tire fire wrapped up in a train wreck.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that the fact that Deshaun Watson comes back in week 12 against the Houston Texans in Houston.
Yeah, it's almost like the NFL may plan matchups, not to get my tinfoil hat out. And the receiver you were looking for, I believe, is Rashad Bateman. I believe that's who they drafted.
That's him. Yep. So I don't know. I think Baltimore can do with all those injuries they had last year. They're fully healthy this year. They got their lineup back. I think they could. They'll challenge the Bengals, but they won't win the division. Mm-hmm. So
okay.
All right. So we're going to restart the clock. We're going to go to the AFC South. Dustin, I have Indianapolis winning the division. Almost kind of by default.
Yeah.
Based on the disastrous 2 games they had going into the remaining 2 weeks of the season where all they had to do was win one game to get to the playoffs, and they couldn't do that.
Mhm.
But they bring in Matt Ryan, they trade Carson Wentz, they bring in Matty Ice, Matt
Yeah.
Ryan, experienced quarterback. I think that puts them over the top of the division. And with having Jonathan Taylor in your backfield
Yeah.
is huge. A
Yeah.
huge
I mean,
thing.
that's a huge upgrade. I agree with you. I think the Colts are coming out of that division, like you said, partially because of default. Now, I do think that the Titans could pose the biggest threat because you have Ryan Tannehill there. Sorry, got to
Ugh.
give a shout out to Matthew Berry for that nickname. But you have Ryan Tannehill there, and you have Derrick Henry. You know he's going to grind out games, and I do believe in Mike Vrabel as a coach. I think he's
Mhm.
proven himself. He's going to get those guys playing hard, but the Colts are where it's at for me. I do think Michael Pittman could have a big year because he had a bit of a big year last year, and that was with Carson Wentz as a quarterback. And I would say that Matt Ryan, I say confidently, Matt Ryan is an upgrade over Carson Wentz. So it's the Colts for me. The Jaguars, I think, will improve. I mean, there's nowhere to go but up from where they were, but they will be last in the division for me. Well, actually, as I say that, I do think they'll beat out the Texans. The Texans, I thought that David Culley, the coach that was let go last year, I guess it was rumored it was GM conflict between the coach and the GM, but David Culley had them playing well. I don't understand why he got let go, and it just doesn't seem like they have a direction down there.
No, they don't. And I have theories about the Texans ownership in terms of collusion with the whole Deshaun Watson thing. I have mentioned it numerous times on this podcast. I'm fully convinced that they had a lot to do with what happened with his lawsuits after he demanded a trade. And for some reason, the Roger Goodell is too cowardly to punish ownership. I know
Yeah.
because of the fact that he represents ownership when it comes to the CBA, yada yada yada. They finished dead last in division. I don't think they win more than 3 games this year. Period. Even with Dave, I mean, I like Davis Mills too. Like when I watched Red Zone last year, and the games he played, I think they had that one game against, I think it was Tennessee. They almost beat Tennessee in that game at home. And Davis Mills was a big reason why. He's a good quarterback. But their defense, they're in a rebuild. And
Yes.
they bring in Lovie Smith to help rebuild this franchise. It's going to take a while.
Mhm.
So I hope Lovie Smith likes Texas and likes barbecue.
Yeah.
I know I do. Jacksonville, I have them finishing third. They're going to improve from 2 wins with 2 or 3 wins they had last year.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Just because of the fact that Doug Peterson is their head coach, and he can build a system around Justin Lawrence. They still have problems on their offensive line. My MO for football is that your success begins and ends on the line on both sides of the ball, both offense and defense. I don't think they have the offensive line. They have weapons. They're going to score some points this year. The big problem is that no one's going to really protect Justin
Trevor Lawrence.
Or Trevor Lawrence. God,
Yeah.
what am I saying Justin Lawrence for? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking Justin Herbert, which is going to talk about the AFC West next. But
my draft pick from last night.
And they're still, and they're still young on defense, but I think they could steal a few games. Tennessee, I actually had them missing the playoffs just because of the fact that Ryan Tannehill is their quarterback, and other than Treylon Burks, who else is he going to throw to? Right now, to me, it's just Dustin Henry. Derrick Henry left, Derrick Henry right, just like they did with Walter Payton back in the day before Jim McMahon became the quarterback. And there's just no. And right now, Malik Willis is waiting in the wings.
Yes,
and I think he might start some games this year, especially if they're in a place where you can start some games if they're out of playoff contention, which I believe they will be by at least week 15. I think week 16, week 15, week 14. I think they're out of playoff contention, and I have Indianapolis winning the division just because of the fact that Matty Ice joined the team, and that lineup up and down the roster is still pretty solid.
Yeah, yeah. Chris Ballard, Frank Reich, they know what they're doing when they're putting things together.
Chris Ballard from Northwestern. All right, we're gonna restart the clock. Fresh 5 minutes. We're gonna talk about the AFC West. I've got the LA Chargers winning this division.
Oh man, I can sing the old San Diego Superchargers song, even though they're not in San Diego anymore.
But it could come down to, I mean, last year, I thought 2 years ago the NFC, all 4 NFC West teams were going to make the playoffs. I think all 4 AFC West teams have the ability to make the playoffs. Although I have questions about Denver in terms of the offensive line. Outside of Graham Glasgow, I have a lot of doubts about that offensive line. But I've got the Chargers winning the division. I've got Kansas City coming in a close second. The Raiders are also going to be contention for that division.
Yeah,
it's going to be a tight division. Dustin, what's your thoughts about the AFC West?
Well, I will say, as much as I like the direction the Chargers are going, and they have Austin Eckler, he's a weapon. He's just a weapon. That's all I can say. And they have Keenan Allen. They have Mike Williams, who kind of finally made the leap last year. And they have the Bosa, the younger Bosa, I believe, on defense. He's ridiculous unless I'm completely getting that wrong. Either they have Joey or they have Nick. Nick is a 49er.
Nick's on the 49ers, so it's Joey Bosa.
Yeah, Joey Bosa. He's the older one. They've got him on defense still. They have a great young corner, if memory serves. But
Derwin James.
I think the Chiefs, that is correct, yes. I think the Chiefs are still going to come out of the division. I know there's been some upheaval. I know losing Tyreek Hill is a big blow, but as much as I dislike it sometimes, Patrick Mahomes, aside from that collapse that he had in the playoffs, I think it was last year where he just kind of lost it for a quarter or a half. He does seem to find a way to win games. Andy Reid always gets the running game going. Their defense has improved, and at least I remember years ago, my uncle's been a Chiefs fan forever. Years ago, their defense was woeful, and it's steadily gotten better. So I think it's Chiefs, Chargers. Then I have the Broncos eking out third. I am not a Seahawk fan who holds ill will against Russell Wilson. I think he'll do well, but I think it's his first season in a new scheme. That offensive line, I know there's questions about it, but the sad thing is it'll be better than any offensive line he ever had in Seattle. But the thing is, when he was in Seattle and he was running for his life, he still had his legs. He does not run the way that he used to. I think it's going to be a struggle. Denver has 2 great running backs. They have Melvin Gordon, and they have Javon. His name is escaping
Williams.
me. Yes, Javon Williams.
I think you drafted him in our fantasy league last night.
I did. But supposedly they want Williams to be the guy, and I know Denver has some weapons. Everybody's very excited, but I think they just beat out the Raiders, because I think the Raiders are going to surprise some people this year.
Yeah. In terms of the division, all things you mentioned about the Chargers defense, their offense is really is going to be very scary.
Yes.
With Eckler and Herbert and Keenan Allen,
Mike Williams. Yeah.
That offense is going to be very scary.
Yeah.
Defensively, they could be one of the best units in the league. That's for sure. Kansas City, they lost a bunch of guys, but they also reloaded in the draft. They lose Charvarius Ward in free agency. They pick up Trent McDuffie at 21. They pick up a pass rusher in George Karlaftis, who many thought was the second best pass rusher in the draft, right before Kayvon Thibodeau.
Mm-hmm.
They pick up Sky Moore. They lose Tyreek Hill, but they pick up Juju Smith-Schuster, and they pick up Sky Moore from Western Michigan, who was highly regarded too. So Kansas City seems to reload. Their defense is going to be it'll be solid. It won't be
Yeah.
game breakers, but at the same time they won't screw up and mess up the games.
Mhm.
The Raiders, I have them sneaking into a wild card spot.
Okay.
Again, Josh McDaniels is going to do. I think he's going to do wonders with Derek Carr. Derek Carr, people goof on him all the time,
Yeah.
but he's a solid quarterback.
He
And now
is.
he's got Devontae Adams, his college teammate, as
Yeah.
his primary receiver.
Which chemistry cannot be overrated. You know,
No.
that is a factor, and they clearly have a friendship and chemistry,
Mhm.
and I think it's going to pay dividends on the field.
Yep, and you pick up Chandler Jones to be on the other side of Max Crosby as your edge rushers. So I think the Raiders sneak in as a wild card. So that does it for the AFC. We're gonna talk about the NFC in just a brief moment, but first of all, I want to talk about one of our partners at Godzilla Media, and that's DraftKings. The wait is almost over. A new football season is about to begin. Get ready, my friends, for the NFL Week 1 action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook betting partner of the NFL. To celebrate the return of football, DraftKings is giving new customers a can't-miss offer. Bet just $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly. Want more action for opening night? Anyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. Get up 7, you win. Bet on any NFL team of your choice, and if your team leads by 7 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code 518 to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code 518 only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and physically present in New York. Bonus issued as free bets. One early win token issued at opt-in money line bets only. Deposit and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York to 467-369. All right. And it's for new customers and it's for new signups only. Forgot to mention that. So I'm not eligible, unfortunately.
As most things are. Well, I haven't played DraftKings yet. Maybe I'll fire it up.
There you go. There you go, Dustin. Fire that up. Put the promo code in. You put in a $5 wager, you get $200.
Yeah,
So,
why not?
there you go. Go for it. Go for it. All right, we're moving on. Fresh new 5 minutes on the clock. We're going to move on to the NFC East. I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. They're going to fly over this division. I think they're going to outclass this entire division. Although you could say Dallas kind of could contend, but I think Philadelphia, just by the way they drafted this past draft, the way they shrewdly picked up AJ Brown during the draft.
Oh yes,
and just based on the talent they have with Jalen Hurts coming in as a full-time quarterback again, I think Philadelphia wins this division by at least 2 games. Dustin, give us your breakdown about this division. What do you see happening in the NFC East?
This division, okay, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I am with you lockstep on the Eagles. I just think Jalen Hurts, he's going to contribute. He's going to continue to improve. I was very shocked that they were able to get AJ Brown. And if they can figure out the running back situation there, it'll be even better for them. It just seems like they don't want – there's something about Miles Sanders that they just seem not to like. You know, you think he's going to catch on, and then he just doesn't seem to. It's been some injuries. It's been some other things. But I do think this division could be wrapped up by early December. The Eagles, to me, are the class of this division. I do think the Commanders may surprise people. I've always had faith in Ron Rivera as a coach. Yeah. I think he is doing a decent job of turning them around. I mean, they've had so much tumult with everything swirling around Daniel Snyder. Just seems like a terrible person. I will not apologize for that remark.
You have the support of many other people at Belly Up Sports and I believe at Godzilla Media, but yes,
yeah,
they agree with you.
but I do think, I mean, they have Carson Wentz. Is he a world beater? No, but I do think he is an upgrade over what was it, Taylor Heineke? They had starting
Taylor Heineke,
games for
yeah,
them.
he's their second string quarterback.
He showed a lot of heart, but I do think Carson Wentz is an improvement over them. Terry McLaurin, he can really move. Their defense is continually lauded as one of the possibly up and coming defenses, and I think one of these years it's going to catch. So I do have the the Commanders finishing second in this division. Here's where it gets interesting. I think the Cowboys. I have no idea what to make of the Giants. I do think maybe that Brian Daboll can get things moving in a somewhat positive direction. I do not believe in Daniel Jones, but if Saquon can return to even half of the form that he was at Penn State, and they do have Kadarius Toney and some talented weapons there, I'm going to say that they're going to eke out the Cowboys. And it's the Cowboys to me are the definition of a team that has a lot of talent, but always finds ways to lose games. It's gone across coaching staffs. It's gone across. It's been their MO for a long time now. And there's one common denominator, and that's Jerry Jones.
Dave, put your kid to bed, Dave. Go to bed, Oren.
And I do think that I just think that that's what's going to happen. Dak, I don't have the faith in him. I think he's a fine football player, but they find ways to lose games as a whole. And I think Jerry Jones, he will lean on Zeke Elliott too much because they gave him that contract, even though I think they should get Tony Pollard in there to run. But I have the Cowboys finishing last in that division.
Okay, so our picks for the division are, other than Philadelphia, are dichotomy. They're completely on opposite ends. I have Dallas finishing second. Mm-hmm. I think Philadelphia wins that division by 2 games. But Dallas contends they're going to have I think they finish with a playoff spot. Okay. I have the Giants finishing third, just based on their draft. What they did in the draft, they did enough in the draft to improve, especially on both sides of the line. Offensive line, they pick up Neal from Alabama, who's an absolute beast. They pick up Kayvon Thibodeau, who's an edge rusher. They've needed an edge rusher ever since Michael Strahan left all those years ago.
Yeah.
I also believe this is another bold prediction. I think Wan'Dale Robinson could contend for Rookie of the Year in the NFC, especially if Daboll can use his talents in this offense. He was a very talented receiver at Kentucky. He's a slot receiver, but he's a talented enough guy. He could be a gadget guy for that offense. As far as Washington goes, the Commanders go, they're going to play teams tough. Ron Rivera's teams always play teams tough, but I don't believe in Carson Wentz. And they got Chase Young back. They got Chase Young back because he tore his ACL last year. Yeah. He's back in the lineup, but I don't think they have enough offensively outside of Terry McLaurin to make a really big difference. And I think they need to rebuild their offense in the offseason. I think they need to start looking for another quarterback with Carson Wentz. I think he still has another 2 years on his deal.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he's a nice guy off the field, but on the field, he just can't seem to get out of his own head.
Yeah. He does have a bit of a reputation, and this is his third team in, about 5 seasons?
3 years and 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Because he played for the Eagles, he got traded to the Colts, and the Colts wound up trading him for draft picks. So
yeah, that's right. So it has been he's been in the league for about 5 seasons, but yeah, it's been 3 for 3 on new teams.
And I will say this, I like Daniel Jones, but the fact of the matter is the Giants gave him the Sam Darnold treatment that the Jets did when they drafted him, and they did not surround him with an offensive line or enough offensive or enough talent on offense other than Saquon Barkley to really make a big difference in his career. So, all right, restart the clock. We're going to reset to 5 minutes. We're going to move on to the NFC North, and I've got Green Bay running away with this division again, just because. Yeah. But I think Detroit could possibly make some noise with all they've done between the draft and free agency, and the fact that Dan Campbell is. I'll put it this way: I love Dan Campbell in a platonic uh, friendship, platonic loves, platonic love way. But I think he's the guy who basically kept this team together when things started to fall apart. And they had all those losses that were really, really close during the first part of the season. They started to put things together offensively. I don't think Jared Goff is. I mean, Jared Goff could be the quarterback that they have been looking for. I mean, the one for one with Stafford and the draft picks they all had from the Rams. I mean, Jared Goff's turning himself into a decent quarterback. Minnesota. Everybody, I hear a lot of people saying that the Vikings are going to be an exciting team on offense this year, and their defense is going to be all right. Listen, the Vikings are who the Vikings are. I don't think they're anything. I don't think the Vikings are anything special this season.
Yeah,
Chicago is not quite Cleveland. They're Cleveland adjacent, but without all the scandals going on with Deshaun, the fact that they trade just for Deshaun Jackson and throw $240 million guarantee at him as soon as he walks in the door.
Yeah.
But Chicago's a rebuilding team. They're in a rebuild. I think Justin Fields is going to be a star.
Mm-hmm.
I think his breakout season will be next season.
Yeah, he needs another year. He's had some instability in his young career, right? Because the coaching staff from last year, that Andy Dalton was in, and then Andy Dalton was out, and then there was some flux there. So I'm with you. I think Justin Fields has the talent to be an absolute star, but I think he needs some consistency, a couple of years in the same scheme to get his feet under him. And I do like Darnell Mooney there. I think he could do some great things, and I think that he and Fields will develop a bit of a connection. But I am with you lockstep in this division. I like the direction that Detroit is going in. It seems like they finally have righted the ship to some degree there, and it's always good because I want competitive games on Thanksgiving, right? I'm sick of seeing these Lions games, and I think Dan Campbell has got them going in the right direction. Your points about Jared Goff are true, and I believe he's still somewhat young. He has time. He has time to grow a little bit, and they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift. Detroit is no longer a place where careers go to die. I don't think.
No.
I do agree with you about the Vikings. I don't understand why everybody thinks they're going to be so exciting. Yes, they have KJ Osborne and they have Justin Jefferson. Those are some nice weapons to be sure, but to be frank, I don't think Kirk Cousins, as long as he is your quarterback, there is a definitive ceiling as to how far you can go. I agree with you 100% on this division. I think Detroit could surprise some people, and we know Dan Campbell's going to have them playing very hard.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing that Dan Campbell does is that he makes sure that the Lions don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give up the ship. They'll go down. If they go down, they go down fighting. I remember last year's season, week 17, when they beat Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay had the division wrapped up. They had home field wrapped up. But the Lions just kept coming. And they went up winning the game. They had the big upset. They had a bit of an upset. But they just kept coming. And Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful. He's turning into. I think he's going to be a star receiver. I think he'll be a Pro Bowler at the end of the season because he's just fun to watch.
And who did they draft? They drafted I think it was a receiver or a running back, but he's injured, and then they're hoping that he can come back, but he's going to be an impact player.
That would be they drafted Aiden Hutchinson second overall. Then they drafted Jameson Williams.
Yes, that is who I'm thinking of.
They're hoping that he comes back later this season. And if he does, man, that's gonna be the Detroit Lions. And this has been many, many years since anybody's actually probably said this, since the Stafford Megatron era. They're
Yeah.
gonna be fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I am looking forward to red zone games, seeing them. I do
Yep.
think Aaron Rodgers, he's good enough to make any receiver good. They'll figure it out. Nobody will be able to catch Green Bay, but I'm lockstep with you on your standings
Look,
for this division.
I will say this because I know Dave is watching, but Aaron Rodgers, with the Wiccan tattoos and the ayahuasca and the long hair, he's a vodka endorsement away from being a trophy wife.
Yeah,
My
he's
God
taking. It
Almighty.
seems that he's taking his advice from a couple years ago, right? Relax. I think that's what he's doing.
Relax. Yeah, he's what the part I like about him is that he's based, so he's honest.
Yeah.
I think I'm over 40. Dustin, I know you're almost there,
Yeah.
but once you hit 40, you don't give a crap anymore.
Yeah.
You just don't give a crap anymore. It's so freeing.
Yeah.
I think
look forward to it.
Aaron Rodgers. That's what Aaron Rodgers is right now, and Tom Brady. They're both at that era. They're part of their lives right now. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tom Brady, fresh new 5 on the clock. We're going to the NFC South. I got the Buccaneers winning this division handily. New Orleans did all they could the draft and free agency, but I still have them winning. I still have them finishing second. Atlanta, they're to rebuild. They're going to be a fun team to watch offensively. They're going to be an absolute train wreck defensively because they don't rush the passer. They can't rush the passer. They had 17 as a team, Dustin, last year as a team, 17 sacks total. And I think the team that finished with the most had like over 50. I think it was Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had 55 sacks and Atlanta had 17.
Yeah.
Altogether.
That's pretty crazy.
And then I have at the rear in the caboose of this NFC South division, I've got Carolina, because Carolina is just, they're not good. They're terrible. They're going to be terrible this year.
To put it in perspective, Aaron Donald alone, I believe, I just looked it up. I believe he has 12. He had 12 and a half sacks last year. So Aaron Donald alone almost had as many as the Falcons.
TJ Watt had 22 and a half sacks. And the Falcons had 19.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. All right. I did not realize Watt had that many. I mean, I know he's a star, but wow.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all right. Well, for the most part, okay. I do have the Bucks winning this division. I think the ageless wonder, that TB12 training, he figures out a way to do it again. And because Tom Brady plays there, they're able to re-sign a lot of their pieces. They brought back Leonard Fournette. It's just another year of
they added Julio Jones too.
Yeah,
Julio Jones. Don't forget about that.
I know they did, but I don't think Julio was a force. He was something to be reckoned with. But I think with how long the rest of the league waited, as far the trade market was probably non-existent for Julio Jones last year. So I think that shows what the league thinks of Julio Jones. Now, maybe he's going to have some screw you energy coming out of the gate. Maybe he's going to want to prove everybody wrong. And that kind of dovetails into my next. I think now Carolina, I know that they're probably going to be rough, but I think they edge out New Orleans in this division. I just don't know. New Orleans, to me, you can't get a read on them. And maybe it's because the NFC South, prior to Brady joining the Bucks, it was like a different team was always finishing atop the NFC South. That was the joke.
It was usually one of those other three teams.
So you never knew what, there was a team that could go worst to first. I think Baker Mayfield is going to come out with something to prove. Do I think he's a fantastic quarterback? I don't. But anytime you can get Cleveland to the postseason for the first time in how many years, you got something. I do believe in DJ Moore a little bit. If Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, we know what a difference maker he could be. Now, I know we're a long way from the glory days of Luke Kuechly on defense. Shout out to him for retiring young, by the way. I wish I could do that. But I do think New Orleans, I just can't. I think they're in a rebuild, but they don't want to admit it. I don't know what's going on with Michael Thomas. I do know they drafted a receiver. I cannot think of his name at the moment, but Alvin
Chris
Kamara.
Olave.
Yes, thank you. Alvin Kamara. They've got. What if he ends up suspended? I mean, I know there's like they're saying that he probably won't be suspended due to the off-field issues that are surrounding him, but you never know. I just have a feeling about New Orleans this year.
I still think New Orleans tries to contend for at least a wild card spot. They had a good draft with Olave, and they picked up an offensive lineman, Trevor Penning, who is a huge guy. I think they're defensively they're still pretty good. Offensively, Jameis Winston is just going to be the wild card.
He is.
It's on him. It's on him to be.
He's the Charlie Kelly. He's the wild card of this team.
Wild card. But yeah, as I mentioned, Atlanta is going to be fun offensively with Mariota and coming soon, Desmond Ridder at quarterback, but their defense is just god awful.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch Carolina and Atlanta in my standing. So I'm going to have Tampa first,
yes,
New Orleans second, Carolina third, and Atlanta in dead last again. Carolina is going to be. I secretly wished that Carolina would have picked up Josh Rosen just to complete the 2018 quarterback NFL draft first round quarterback set, because that would have been everything. But now I think he's a second stringer. I think he's the third string quarterback for the Cleveland Browns right now.
Yeah, I think I knew they brought him in, and I think he did end up signing. But he's not lighting the world on fire there.
All right, so fresh new 5 minutes on the clock. We've got about 7 or 8 minutes remaining in the show, so we'll make this 5 minutes go pretty quickly. NFC West. This is going to be another fun division, I think. And I'm sorry to say, Dustin, but outside of your beloved Seattle Seahawks, this division is going to be a blast to watch. Because of the 3 teams that are in that division right now that are just contenders. Now, granted, Arizona's not going to have Watkins,
DeAndre Hopkins,
DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games.
Yeah,
but they're putting their hopes and dreams on Kyler Murray with that huge contract extension. Mm-hmm. I think he takes this division and this game more seriously, because last year, you remember, they had that really, really hot start, and then all of a sudden injuries started coming. Kyler Murray started playing like garbage, and they went up limping into the playoffs before getting absolutely destroyed by the future champion LA Rams.
Yeah.
But I think Kyler Murray learned his lesson. I think even with that kind of ridiculous contract addition.
Yeah, the clause. Yeah.
The clause saying that you have to spend an extra 4 hours per week on watching film, which is no problem. You spend an extra hour a day watching film, no big deal. And it's monitored too. The fun thing is that it's monitored. So I'm like, welcome to workforce management.
Yeah.
But Arizona, they're gonna be fun to watch. San Francisco is always going to be in that division, especially with Kyle Shanahan as their head coach and the defense that they have. And I think the Rams take the division just based off of. I mean, they're not going to have Von Miller as your edge rusher this year, but they have Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
who is
a
force.
Yes, you can't stop him. That's why I agree with you. I do think the Rams stay atop this division. The Niners will be right in there, and if the Rams take this division, the Niners are a pick for one of my wild card teams, because as we discussed earlier, and I stumbled through, they have Nick Bosa, they have their defensive weapons. And let's not, a lot of people are wondering about Trey Lance, but let's not they re-signed Jimmy G now. They have their insurance, and they can keep it going. Kyle Shanahan just really seems like he knows what he's doing when it comes to head coaching. He'll figure out ways to outcoach you. He'll always get a running back game going. No surprise, his last name is Shanahan. He inherited it from his father. It's in his blood. Their running game's always good. And I do think that leaves the Cardinals. I have the Rams 1, the San Francisco 49ers 2. That leaves the Cardinals 3, but a fun 3. This is a team. Yep. This is a division where all 3 teams could make the playoffs. My beloved Seahawks. It's part of the reason I'm wearing my Bobby Ingram jersey because I don't want to. I just like the hustle of his game, and he was a Penn State product, if I remember correctly. I know
correct.
You got your love for the Nittany Lions, but Geno Smith is not it. At the risk of
neither's Drew Lock.
No, but I argue when he is traded as part of the package for Russell Wilson, you got to put him in and see what you have, because you know what Geno did. Even in the preseason, he got 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So is that what you want? Do you want somebody zeroing it out? Drew Lock, he had some fumbles. He had I think 3 picks, but he had 4 TDs. He at least got the offense moving, and he missed a couple of starts due to COVID. I think at some point Drew Lock does get a chance to show what he's got. Geno, we know what he is, but my Seahawks, I think they got a shot to be competing with the Falcons as one of the worst teams in the NFL this year.
Yeah. Say you're rebuilding without saying you're rebuilding.
Yeah.
There. I've got, this is my division. This is my AFC. We're in agreement with our NFC West division. I've got the Rams in first, San Francisco close second, Arizona a very fun third place, and the Seattle Sea Bags in fourth place this year.
Yeah.
The Rams are going to be a fun team again to watch, just based off of what they did last year. And
they brought in Allen Robinson, which
that's right, they did.
You put Matthew Stafford with Allen Robinson. I think some things could happen because Robert Woods is in Tennessee now, if memory serves.
Yes.
But to me, Allen Robinson, he just goes right in there.
Yep, I agree. And just like that, timer goes off. We're almost done with our division preview, with our NFC or NFL preview. So we're gonna go over our division winners, Dustin, and wild cards. Dustin, I give you the floor first. Who do you have as your division winners and your wild cards?
Okay, for the AFC East, I have the Bills, and I do think Patriots. I think they just find a way to sneak in. For the AFC West, I have the Chiefs taking that division. And then let's see, how many wild card slots do we have here?
3.
Yeah, because I do think the Chargers, that's going to be quite a division. I think the Chargers could get in as a wild card. In the AFC North, I have the Bengals taking that division. And then I have the Colts taking the AFC South. And let's see.
You got 2 wild cards.
Yep. So I had 2, and I think I'll give Russell Wilson and the Broncos another one. I think they'll figure it out, but they're going to squeak in. They can get to 10 wins. But I have a feeling about the Broncos. I just don't think it's going to light the world on fire. They are in a tough division. It's going to be, what a division to watch. That's probably the best division in football.
Yeah. That's for sure. Oh, one more wild card spot. I think you said New England, right?
Yeah, I did say New England. I said the Chargers, and then I do have the Broncos as a wild card as well.
All right. NFC. Okay. So my picks for division: AFC East, Buffalo; AFC North, Cincinnati; AFC South, Indy; and for the West, I've got the Chargers. My 3 wildcard teams, I've got Baltimore as a wildcard team, I've got Kansas City as a wildcard team, and I got the Las Vegas Raiders as the last wildcard spot. All right, NFC. What are your division picks and wildcards?
Okay, so for the NFC East, I have the Eagles. I don't think there's a wild card. I think that division, the Eagles run away with it.
Mhm.
In the NFC West, I have the Rams, I have the 49ers as a wild card, and I have the Cardinals as a wild card. I think the NFC West is going to be a absolute slobber knocker,
Mhm.
um, to quote good old JR. And then in the NFC North, I have the Green Bay Packers coming out. And in the NFC South, I have the Buccaneers taking the division, and I'm going to shock a lot of people. I have the Carolina Panthers coming out with a wild card slot.
Wow.
That
Hot
Carolina
take.
defense is
It's
intense. No.
intense. Arr, arr.
I just think Baker Mayfield is going to be motivated, and I think they do have some more talent than people think. I think people, because Christian McCaffrey has been injured for a majority of the last couple of seasons, I think people forget how good he is. If he can stay healthy, he is a game changer.
All right. So my NFC picks are as follows. I've got Philadelphia handily winning the NFC East. I've got Green Bay winning the North. I've got Tampa Bay winning the South, and I got the Rams winning the West. Now, my wild card teams: San Francisco and Arizona. I'm in agreement with you there. I have Dallas sneaking in as the last wild card spot. Now, you could now, yeah. It's just I think they'll have just enough. But I think at the end of the season, Jared Jones is going to be wanting to ship Mike McCarthy, no relation, to the moon or the
Yeah.
sun.
Yeah.
Gonna yeet him into the sun. Oh, your uncle has a question. Does the NFC East champion have a winning record this year? Yes, I think Philadelphia will go. They'll win at least 11 games.
Yeah, I agree. It's not going to be the year of like the 7-9 Seahawks from years ago beating the
Or
Saints.
or the 7-9
Yeah,
football team
yes,
almost beating Tampa Bay in the wild card.
yes, that was wild. But I am agreeing. The Eagles will get to double digits, no problem.
All right, now before we close things up, who will be your teams? Who will be in Phoenix for Super Bowl 56 on February 8th? Who are your two teams from the AFC and the NFC, respectively?
Well, from the AFC, I am in agreement with you. I think it'll be the Buffalo Bills. I think the Chiefs are going to give them problems, but I think this is the year that the Bills climb the top. They added Von Miller on defense. I think he's going to have an impact. And then I do think that for the NFC, I think it might be the Rams again. I think they reloaded in the right way. McVay is an amazing coach. So that's what I have. And then I
It,
have the Buffalo Bills pulling it out, though, I think.
okay, okay. I'm in agreement with you in terms of the teams. I've got Buffalo and the Rams. Buffalo is they lacked a pass rush last year. I think the AFC Championship game is going to be Buffalo, Kansas City. I think Kansas City will find a way to get back to the championship game. It's going to be 5 in a row.
Yeah.
5 conference championship games in a row, which is unprecedented, especially in this era. But I got Buffalo winning because based on the fact that they'll have home field. And out of the NFC, I've also had the LA Rams. I have just they 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 put all their chips in,
Hmm.
and it's working. First, I
Yeah.
don't know how, how, but the pushing all the chips in, they're giving up draft capital is going to kill them in about 2 to 3 years,
Yeah.
but it's working.
Hmm.
Something's working, and Sean McVay got his quarterback last year. Matt Stafford put them over the top in more ways than one,
Yeah.
and he went up with a ring.
Hmm.
And they're doing something there. Although I have the Rams just being the Bills in the Super Bowl. I think the Rams repeat as Super Bowl champions this year.
Okay.
If my brother Jeremy's watching, sorry. I know he wants to see a Buffalo Bills team win a Super Bowl just as much as I want to see the New York Jets win a Super Bowl. during my lifetime. But
Yeah.
I've got the Rams. I've got the Rams repeating. Dustin's got Buffalo. We've both got Buffalo and the Rams in the Super Bowl in Phoenix on February 8th, but we have different opinions on who's going to win. So
how fitting.
How fitting. How fitting. And how fitting that the first game of the year is going to be Buffalo and the Rams on Thursday.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Crazy. All right, Dustin, we're going to wrap things up here with this edition of No Credentials Required. Thanks to everyone who's been watching. If you're watching on replay, thanks for watching. If you're listening on the podcast side, thanks for listening. So we're going to close things out here, Dustin. I know it's your first time being on the podcast. Not you're the co-host of the podcast. Where can the people find you if they ever want to interact with you?
I am at eldusto67 on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm out there. You're going to be seeing me now, so I've enjoyed it. Looking forward to many more of these.
Your uncle approves. Thanks, Al.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate you watching. All right. As for me personally, you can find me right down here at WhoIsRyanMCC. For all our other social channels for No Credentials Required, you can find them right down here on Twitter and Instagram, and yes, even TikTok, No Creds REQ, Facebook.com/No Creds REQ, on YouTube, No Credentials Required. If you're watching, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You know what to do. Subscribe on the podcast side. Subscribe anywhere you find podcasts. Leave a review and a rating. We appreciate it. And we're going to end things here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Ryan McCarthy. That is Dustin Henry. And you've been watching and listening to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports, presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. We'll talk to you next week, same time, 7 p.m. on Tuesday. We'll react to week 1 of the NFL 2022 season. We'll talk to you later. Have a great night.
Bye, everybody.